From Logomachist Elections, today we're going to explore presidential elections in New Jersey following World War II. As America began its post-war era, New Jersey was a state that, politically, looked a lot different than it does today. This will take you through the results of 20 presidential elections in the Garden State, beginning with 1948. And in 1948, Tom Dewey might have famously lost the election to Harry Truman, but he won his neighboring state. Dewey won most of the state's counties en route to about a 4.5-point win, taking all of New Jersey's 16 electoral votes. He barely lost New Jersey in 1944 when he opposed FDR's fourth-term run, but flipped it in 1948. It was not enough. Hudson, where you'll find Jersey City, and Mercer, home to Trenton, were the bluest counties in the state. Meanwhile, Dewey did his best in Ocean County down the shore, where he ran up a 43-point margin, though vote-rich Bergen County, which he won by 34 points, was most beneficial. In 1952, the GOP kept their luck in New Jersey going, but this time, they won the country as well for the first time since 1928. Dwight Eisenhower won the election, defeating Democrat Adlai Stevenson. Ike won New Jersey by almost 15 points, or over 350,000 votes, taking all but 3 counties. Even in the counties Stevenson won, the margins were narrow. His best county was Mercer, which was a 7-point win. On the other end, Eisenhower won Sussex County in the north by almost 50, Ocean by 46, and Morris by 45. Make no mistake, this was a thorough defeat for Stevenson. It was even worse in 1956. The popular Eisenhower rode high to re-election, and New Jersey's 16 electoral votes remained in the bank. It was a landslide both nationally and in the Garden State for Ike. He won here by 30 points while sweeping every county. Granted, some of them were close, like Mercer and Camden, but there's a great deal of dark red on the map indicating strong Republican victories in counties like Cape May, Ocean, Morris, Bergen, and Sussex. The Democrats were back on top in 1960, both in New Jersey and overall. John F. Kennedy beat Richard Nixon to the White House in 1960, and New Jersey's 16 electoral votes helped. It was a close race in what was at the time a swing state, with Kennedy winning by 0.8%, or about 22,000 votes. More reliable blue counties like Hudson and Mercer reasserted themselves after voting for Eisenhower in 1956, while new ones like Passaic popped up on the map. Ocean County was a 22-point win for Nixon, much narrower than the margins posted by Ike. Nixon did barely carry Union County by about a point, but clearly that was not enough. America underwent social upheaval in between the 1960 and 1964 presidential elections. You all know the cruel fate suffered by John F. Kennedy in Dallas in 1963. Lyndon Johnson became president, running for a full term against Republican and conservative stalwart Barry Goldwater. A combination of factors led to an LBJ landslide, as he took New Jersey by over 31 points, sweeping every county. Eisenhower won all of them 8 years earlier, and then, in 1964, every single one of those same counties voted Democratic. That just might not be something you'd see today. In fact, the closest any county happened in Sussex County, which LBJ won by about 10. He even won heavily Republican Ocean County by 17 and Bergen by almost 20. 4 counties, Middlesex, Mercer, Cumberland, and Hudson, gave Johnson over 70% of the vote, while all but 6 gave him over 60. 1968 would be a completely different outcome. LBJ was out, Vietnam was raging, more notable figures in American life were being shot, and a third-party candidate, unabashed segregationist George Wallace, collected votes across the country. He would get 9% even in New Jersey, but Richard Nixon got the 17 electoral votes. Nixon won a plurality against Vice President Hubert Humphrey. His 2-point win saw many counties holding closer races. In 10 of them, the margin of victory for either candidate was in the single digits. Sussex, Morris, and Ocean returned to their GOP ways, while even Mercer and Hudson got much closer. As for Wallace, his best county was Gloucester in South Jersey, where he took 15% of the vote. If you haven't had enough electoral whiplash from New Jersey, try on 1972. Nixon, running for re-election by then, won the state in the land landslide, much like his ticket with Eisenhower did in 1956, taking all 21 counties. Again, just 2 elections after LBJ ran the table there. Nixon won the state by roughly 25 points. Essex and Mercer were close, as they were, after all, Democratic bastions, but everywhere else was not. Nixon won 10 counties, almost half the state, by margins of greater than 30 points. In 3 of them, it was over 40 points. And guess what? True to form, we're back to a close race in 1976. I will point out, though, that when a candidate in Jersey so far in this video won Jersey in a landslide, they also won the country in a landslide. When the election was close, so was the state. New Jersey at this point was very much a microcosm of the national picture. Gerald Ford might not have beaten Jimmy Carter, but he did take the Garden State's 17 electoral votes. Ford won here by about 2 points. The president won everywhere you'd expect him to win, and so did Carter, but Ford squeezed out just enough support in Bergen and Morris while holding on to Union and Passaic. The 1980s would be very friendly to the Republicans in New Jersey, as the 1970s were. For a supposed swing state, at this point, it didn't vote Democratic very often. 1980 was a GOP landslide headed up by Ronald Reagan. The former actor and California governor ousted President Jimmy Carter after 1 term. An independent, Congressman John Anderson, took about 8%, with Carter getting under 40% in the state. He won just 3 counties, the 3 most Democratic in the state at the time. Reagan ran up the score in New Jersey's more conservative counties. As for Anderson, he didn't get under 4% of the vote in any county, but he also didn't get over 10. His vote share was remarkably consistent across the state, coming in between 7 and 10% in almost every county. 1984, right on schedule, would be another landslide. This was Reagan's run for a second term against Democrat Walter Mondale, and he took the Garden State in a rout. Unlike Eisenhower, Johnson, and Nixon, however, Reagan did not sweep every county. Essex County, home to Newark, was the only one he lost, and consequently, the only one in New Jersey that Reagan never won. As of 2026, this was the last time that Hudson County, next door, would vote Republican. Reagan took the state overall by about 21 points. It's a story we've been through before. Republicans doing very well in places like Sussex, Bergen, Monmouth, Cape May, Ocean, and Morris counties. Even Union County in the suburbs was reliably Republican. It wouldn't be forever, but it was in 1984. Like in California, another state we've examined, the realignment to what we might recognize in the 2020s began in 1988. George Bush won the state and the election, but the margins narrowed. The 3 Democratic amigo counties, Mercer, Hudson, and Essex, were all blue once again, but Bush still won Jersey comfortably by nearly 14 points. Middlesex County and Union County would become important to the Democrats in future elections. Both were Bush wins in the single digits this time. Meanwhile, Bergen, Ocean, and Morris were all still quite red. 1992 was in many ways a change election. George Bush was out after 1 term, and so was the GOP after 12 years in power. Bill Clinton of Arkansas was elected the 42nd president. He won New Jersey by about 2 points, claiming their 15 electoral votes. But there was an added layer to this one. His name was Ross Perot. He ran a strong independent campaign and took over 15% of the vote in this state. Perot did not win any counties here, however. Clinton won a plurality with 43%, which was good enough. A bunch of counties along the Jersey Turnpike flipped, although narrowly. Perot cut into the margins in a number of places. Atlantic, Middlesex, and Union all flipped Democratic. Union and Middlesex, growing suburban, and in places urban counties, have voted Democratic ever since, which is part of why 1988 was the last time to date that New Jersey has voted Republican. Ross Perot did the worst in Hudson County at 8%. But in 7 counties, he got over 20%. However, he finished in 3rd in every single one. 1996 saw a more conventional big win for Clinton as he claimed re-election, the first Democrat to be re-elected president since FDR. Perot ran again, but nearly halved his vote share from 1992. Clinton won New Jersey by 18 points over Bob Dole, and this time took a majority with almost 54%. Dole's wins were confined to the interior of North Jersey. Even Morris, Warren, and Somerset counties, reliably red, were softening on the GOP. Meanwhile, Cape May and Ocean counties flipped blue, as did another formerly dependable Republican county, Bergen. For the latter, it has also voted Democratic ever since. Hard to see any Republican winning this state if they can't win those counties. 2000 saw Perot leave the stage, and New Jersey got even bluer. Al Gore won by almost 16 points, marking 3 wins in a row for the Democrats, while the state was very clearly losing its status as a swing state at the presidential level, if it really ever was one. George W. Bush got back Cape May and Ocean counties, but other than that, the news was not good, aside from the fact that he won the election thanks to the dimpled Chads in Florida. Of course, there was another candidate, Ralph Nader of the Green Party. Despite a lot of talk about him being a potential spoiler nationally, he managed less than 3% in New Jersey. Bush only won 1/3 of counties in the state. Gore even carried Monmouth County, which has not gone blue since. Hudson and Essex went his way by about 45 points each, and that is pretty tough to overcome for a Republican when the Democrat is also winning Bergen, Passaic, Union, and Middlesex for starters. Bush's re-election run in 2004 was the closest race in New Jersey in some time. A few Gore counties flipped red, but despite a closer margin, John Kerry delivered Democrats their 4th win in a row. Those 15 electoral votes, however, went to waste, as Bush did what his father could not, win a second term. Polling in New Jersey was reasonably close for much of the campaign, but I doubt anyone truly thought Kerry would lose. In the end, he carried the state by over 6 points, or about 240,000 votes. Bush did much better in Bergen County in 2004, in the shadow of New York City. He also noticeably cut into Democratic margins in Hudson, Middlesex, and Union counties. Still, it was not enough for the president to take the state. After Iraq war fatigue, Bush fatigue, and a recession, 2008 was a banner year for Democrats. The nation elected its first African-American president, Barack Obama. He did it with New Jersey's help, taking the state's 15 electoral votes and the Democrats' 5th win in a row here. Obama beat John McCain by about 15.5 points, and many networks called the state for him at 8 p.m. I know because I saw it myself. Obama became the first presidential candidate to get 2 million votes in New Jersey. McCain strongly carried the counties you'd expect by now, but most others went for Obama. Between Essex and Hudson counties alone, Obama netted over 250,000 votes against McCain. Put it this way, Obama netted more votes in Essex County than McCain did in all 7 counties he won combined. That's how you lose in a blowout. By 2012, the Obama wave was less potent nationally, especially after the GOP won the 2010 midterms, but even as the nation's vote was closer, Obama actually won Jersey by more the second time. He beat Mitt Romney by almost 18 points, running up massive margins in Hudson and Essex counties. Romney won the same 7 counties that John McCain did 4 years earlier. This was the Democrats' 6th win in a row in New Jersey, something which until this point they had never done before. The record Democratic win streak in New Jersey hit 7 in 2016. Donald Trump may have won the presidency, but he lost the Garden State to Hillary Clinton, the first time a female ever won the state's electoral vote. She won by 14 points as New Jersey continued its modern trend of being a reliable blue state. Trump did marginally better than McCain and Romney before him, both in terms of vote share and counties won. He flipped Salem and Gloucester counties in South Jersey, but got clobbered in all of the North Jersey counties you'd expect. His worst was Essex County, which Clinton won by 57 points. In 2020, the COVID election, Joe Biden won both the state and the presidency. He improved upon Clinton's margin in county figures. Biden won New Jersey by 16 points and flipped Gloucester County back to the blue side. More notably, Biden won Morris County, which had been a traditional red bastion in the state. It was the first time Morris went blue since the LBJ landslide of 1964, which also spoke to Trump's ongoing polarization of the suburbs. The closest county was Gloucester, a 2-point Biden win, while Trump carried Monmouth by just 3. Ocean was Trump's best county, while Biden's, of course, was Essex. And now to the most recent election in 2024. Trump was the Republican nominee for an unprecedented third time, and as Joe Biden stepped down mid-campaign, Kamala Harris stepped in. She would lose the national election to Trump, but she won New Jersey again. However, the margin was much closer than expected. Harris managed just a 6-point win in New Jersey, the closest since the second Bush's re-election run in 2004. Donald Trump flipped 5 Biden counties: Atlantic, Cumberland, Gloucester, Morris, and Passaic, the latter of which went red for the first time since 1992. Nevertheless, it was the Democrats' 9th win in a row in the Garden State. To visualize some of the results we just went through, here are all 20 elections organized by year. We're showing you which party won a particular election. Prior to Bill Clinton's win in 1992, the GOP won most post-war elections. However, since 1992, the Democrats have not lost the state even once. Prior to 1992, New Jersey voted for the election winner most of the time, only missing twice between FDR's final victory and Bill Clinton's second victory in 1996. Since 2000, New Jersey has voted for the loser more often than not. Finally, let's look at margin of victory for each of the 20 elections. Blue, obviously, are Democratic years, and red are Republican. That LBJ landslide really stands out in 1964, as it was literally the only election out of 11 in that stretch where a Democrat won so comfortably. However, since Clinton's squeaker in 1992, Democrats have mostly won without too much trouble. Will New Jersey shift again in the future? You never know, but Logomachist Elections will be around to track it. Hopefully. You never know about that either.